can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody.
What up, people? Welcome to Brother to Brother. I'm Dr. Nathaniel Chapman. I'm here with my brother, Dr. Keelon Hinton. Just a couple reminders about what the program is. So Brother to Brother is a program where we get together. We have conversations about a number of things, health, wellness, you name it. So should you have some questions, you feel free to email us, and we'll be able to add those to the show. Couple disclaimers. The messages that we say here are not affiliated with Marshall University, its employees or affiliates, or WMLU or its employees or affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers. And also, even though we both have doctorate degrees in psychology, this is not therapy, ladies and gentlemen. We do hope you get something out of it. But if you need to see a therapist, go see a therapist.
There you go. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the known world listening to us. Again, we want to thank you for sticking around for another episode to listen to us. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to hang with us this evening, and we greatly appreciate that. Okay? So I guess to rock and roll, to move forward and move on with the evening, we were sitting around talking about what's been going on in the world, what's hot in the news. And one of the things that came up was this thing that happened on The View, okay? So our President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., was on The View recently. And it was, to say the least, was a spirited debate. So just to catch everyone up to speed, if you didn't see the episode, a part of what the conversation entailed was Donald Trump Jr. made the statement that no sitting president has ever endured the verbal abuse that his father has. So instantly, all the women of The View jumped on him, okay? And they said, that's not true. And he said, no one has ever dealt with what my father's had to deal with verbally. And they started to name all the things that he's done, that the president has done. So Donald Trump Jr. stopped and said, hey, we all make mistakes. People make mistakes. People say things that they don't mean. People say things that they need to take back. We've all made mistakes. So part of what he did was he looked at Joy Behar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but Joy Behar. He looked at her and he said, Joy, at one point in the past, you wore blackface.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So instantly, it was obvious that they had no idea that he was going to say this. Mm-hmm. You could see their faces, and she didn't know how to respond. The women of The View didn't know how to respond. He looked at Whoopi Goldberg, and he said, at one point or another, you said about a child rapist, you said that it wasn't rape. So part of what he was trying to do was he was trying to make the point, everybody makes mistakes. These are some of your mistakes. So just be careful as you're talking about my father. Be careful again. Don't throw rocks at glass houses, out of a glass house, as they say.
Yeah.
So, one, it was interesting because Whoopi came to Joy's defense, which is another show for another day. Okay. But something that we thought about was, we thought the blackface conversation was interesting, but more important than that, we thought about this idea of cancel culture. And we wanted to think about, well, first we asked, one, we said, is this true? So we went and did a little research, and indeed, well, we don't know if it's blackface. That's debatable. But she did, in fact, she dressed up like a sister for, I believe it was Halloween. Okay,
that's what it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like she had on that wasn't her hair she had on. That wasn't her hair.
Nah.
So her hair don't roll up like that. So she definitely went and got a wig. Okay, it looked like she sort of had an ethnic top on. So it's debatable whether it's blackface or not. But the question is, should Joy apologize years later? This was 20, 30 years ago. So the question is, should she apologize? And most importantly, will cancel culture rear its ugly head? Now, will she be branded as a racist? Now, should she apologize? Should she lose her job? You know what I mean? She should be castigated. She should be crucified for something that she did 30 years ago that for all intents and purposes, had this man not brought this up, she probably would have never even remembered that she did it.
Right.
It was so long ago. So, first topic, first order of business today is cancel culture. This notion and idea that when someone does something wrong, is it productive to just throw people away?
Yeah, and before we get into it, feel free to send some messages, give your thoughts on it. We'd be curious what you think about this.
Yeah,
So-
again, our email is brother2brotherpsych@gmail.com. That's B2B psych, PSYCH, @gmail.com. That's B2B PSYCH @gmail.com. So again, as he said, as Dr. Chapman said, send us your comments, your suggestions, your ideas, and your reactions to what we're saying as well.
Okay. So what you think?
I don't know. Personally, I don't know if cancel culture fixes anything. And this is what I mean. So let's say Joy is racist.
Okay.
Okay? And we find out that Joy is racist and we fire Joy. Now what? Joy is just unemployed and unemployed racist now. Like, nothing is fixed. Nothing is healed.
Solving nothing.
The world is not is the world a better place because Joy doesn't have a job? And I think that we're in a space and a place that and don't get me wrong, I get it. There are evil people in the world. And I think that we're in a mode that we have to expel the world of evil people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if necessarily that is all. I don't know if that's necessarily the right approach.
Yeah, you make some good points there. As you were saying, I was just curious. I mean, I guess we do have a culture of like trying to rid the world of evil, but that's such a broad subject. Like, what do you even consider evil?
I think I think that there is a push towards equality. You know what I mean? Like, making sure that those who historically have been disenfranchised in some way, shape, form, or fashion, making sure that all of us are treated fairly, and those who have historically hurt other people, making sure that they pay for the things that they've done and are in a space and a place that they can continue to do them. I think that, you know what I mean, that is evil. What is evil is, I don't know. Again, that's a philosophical question for me. I don't know. I don't believe in good energy and bad energy. I believe there is energy.
Yeah.
And I think intention shapes energy.
Yeah, it make me ask that question because whether she is racist or not, I just like to use the word bias. We all got our own little sort of bias, and as you're saying, like, so if we do tell her she's fired, then does it take away the bias? Does it take away the bias in the world? That some may assume this is a character thing.
Yeah.
And they'll say it's evil. That's why I was.
Yeah,
wondering.
and that's the thing is, I think we have to, like, this is so. Is this it? Whatever it is it etched in your DNA or was it taught? And if it was taught, can it be untaught?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have to figure out, again, there are truly evil people in this world that want to hurt you. And then there are people, I don't know if I believe in good and bad people. I believe people do good and bad things.
Okay.
Hitler loved Eva Braun. He was an evil person, but was capable of love. So it's like, what is that? What do I do with? I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what I do with that. But again, Hitler is an extreme case. Anytime I say I don't know if I believe in evil people, people go Hitler. Like, people always go to the extreme. You have your Hitlers and you have your Mother Teresas, and I think that all the rest of us are in the middle. I think that we are people. I think people do good and bad things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of what we do and a lot of who we are is taught. And if people can be taught to say messed up and crazy stuff, then can they be untaught? It's just so much. It's just too easy to throw people away, man. It's just like your kids. It's easier to spank them than it is to teach them.
Yeah.
It's easier to control somebody than it is to parent somebody. Parenting is a job. It's a 24-hour day job that you're constantly teaching. But it's so much easier for me to control you. I want you to be quiet, and I want you to do something now, so I'm going to hit you, or I'm going to spank you, or it's just way too easy. And at the end of the day, do you not do it, again, because you truly understand why it's wrong, or I just don't want another spanking. I just don't want to get hit. I just don't want to get hurt.
Right. It's like it's a baby in the bathwater kind of issue. Like,
yeah.
I use my dog. That's like my kid, right? So, when he's acting up, I just say like, oh, I'm frustrated by it, but that's a dog being a dog. The cool thing about dogs is they doing one thing 1 minute, they acting up, but then they're nice the next minute, and you can let it go because you figure, oh, it's not a character thing. But with people though, I don't know, where do we draw that line?
I don't know. That's a good thing. Like, I think the same way about children. One of the dopest things that I've ever been told about being a parent is that one of my advisors, shout out Wade Boykins, Dr. Boykins, good parents always know their kids will be kids. Kids will do things in a child like mine. I think that we all have this assumption that just because you're older, you know better. Yeah. Like, with age comes wisdom, and that's not always necessarily true. If I had, like, an example I give all the time, if I had a bucket of junk and told you to pick out a widget, you would look at me and say, what is a widget? You can't find something if you don't know what it is. And it's never been shown to you. How can you do something, or how can you react and respond in a way? How can you behave in a way? Like, how can you do something if you've never been shown how to do it? But we just assume, like, when people, I hear people say it all the time. When we see people get in trouble, we say, it's a grown man.
Yeah,
that's a grown woman. You're supposed to know better. You should know better. Well, how is that? All we have are the tools that our parents gave us. All we have are the tools that our parents and our community and our environments give us. And while that seems like, I don't mean... I want to be clear though, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to be clear though. I don't want to excuse inappropriate behavior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, inappropriate behavior is inappropriate behavior. No matter, you know what I'm saying?